Hello everyone and welcome back to Superboy Beyond, and we are returning to season 2 today, and we are watching one of the clip show episodes. Basically we're watching this because we realized that we've been kind of putting off watching the clip shows just because they're the ones that maybe we weren't as excited to get to, but we want to get some of them done and out of the way just so we can say we've done them and we don't have to think about clip shows, even though this is not a bad one. You know, Superboy didn't really have terrible clip shows. It's just some of them are better than others. But this is the second appearance of Nick Knack and his last appearance, unfortunately. So,
well, last live action appearance. Remember, he does make an appearance in the comic book.
Oh, of course, yeah. Anyway, so if you get your DVDs synced up alongside us, we will count you in with a 3, 2, 1 play. And as long as you hit play when we do, you should be in sync with us. There will be a very heavily filtered version up there just so you can see where we're up to. And yeah, we'll watch the show alongside you. So get your DVDs ready. Season 2, episode 24 in 3, 2, 1, play. Yeah, it's a shame that Nick Knack never got another episode. Because let's face it, you know, Gilbert Gottfried is so good in the role.
Yeah. You know, and I know Mark Jones said that, you know, he wouldn't have fit in with the tone of season 2. But, you know, I think that, and all respect to Mark Jones, that's a little bit of a cop-out of an answer. Because you can have a silly character in a darker toned show.
Of course. There were definitely silly characters in seasons 3 and 4.
Yeah.
And let's face it, season 4 was ever so slightly brighter in tone than season 3 was. Season 3 is definitely the darkest season. So, I don't know, I think Nick Knack would have fit in quite well in season 4.
Of course, you got him standing in front of the sign that says absolutely no talking, and what's he doing?
I've always loved that line as well. Oops, I dropped my tray. Not a smart thing to do in prison. Just that's pushing the line just a little bit in terms of the jokes you can tell in a family show, but I kind of love it for that. Every time I see this episode, I try to see if I can work out what game they're playing by the cartridge, but it's just too blurry.
Well, you know, plus the fact they've got it held in such a way that you can't really see what it is.
But the funny thing is, though, I remember us pointing out when we did the commentary on Nick Knack's first episode that when he was playing a Game Boy, there was no cartridge in it. So yeah. I like the fact that for this episode, they actually did include cartridges. Like, maybe somebody noticed.
This part is where it gets really, really dark.
Yeah. But it seems like this, like how dark Nick Knack can get, that makes me think that he would have been pretty good in season 3 or 4. Like, he would have fit in pretty well. You just have to lean a little bit more into that side, potentially. But, I mean, he could still be a very funny character.
Yeah, and, you know, given what the actual ToyMan became around this time,
yeah,
it makes sense.
I mean, it's got to be around this time when he killed the son of Cat Grant, who was just a small child. You know, it's not even like he was an adult son. You know, he killed a kid. Like, that's the ToyMan plays for keeps, I believe, is the title of that story.
And then look at what they did with the ToyMan in the animated series after that. You know,
I mean, how creepy is that? You know.
Yeah, Bud Cort played him so creepy. So, as much respect as I have for Mark Jones, Nick Knack would have fit in well with seasons 3 and 4.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Everything we've said is out of utter, complete complete and utter respect. It's just, I just think he would have fit in quite well.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm watching this so closely at the moment, because this is just the episode that we've seen before. But we only did this one about 3 months ago.
Yeah, something like that. But it's Gilbert.
Mm. It's funny because I'm thinking about episodes in season 3 and 4 now with similar sort of silly elements, and I know I bring up this episode a lot, but West of Alpha Centauri's ending is very wacky in a way, mostly because of that main guy's performance, the captain's performance at the end when he has the turn. But it's funny because the actor that played that was also in Knickknack as the security guard in that scene, so that guy brings the comedy. Yeah, I'm just I think it would have been fine. But then again, let's face it, we're both pretty massive fans of this show. I think we would have forgiven even the most wildly inconsistent tone in the show by that point. By season 4, they could have done anything they wanted as far as I'm concerned, because it was already a good show. Get as weird as you want, as long as it's entertaining.
And now we're about to get weird.
That cannot be a comfortable position to sleep in. The Toy Master. That felt very close, like they wanted to say ToyMan. It's the Toy Master. I do like the fact, though, that they clearly did try to give even the clip shows a story.
Yeah.
There's far too many shows where it's literally just, I mean, what's the story of the clip show? Maybe they're sitting down on a couch and they're just reminiscing, and that's literally it. Like, at least there's still a central plot going on. It just happens that the clip show elements are part of that story. And I think it works.
Okay, him turning Daisy into a pull string robot.
Super creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because essentially she's a dead body that's walking around. She's going to start stinking very soon.
Yeah, it's very oh god, what's his name? The serial killer that used to target men. He tried to turn them into living zombies.
Dahmer,
that's it. Yeah, that's basically what he was trying to do, wasn't it? Like, he was lobotomizing.
Yeah.
Super, super creepy. But again, just another reason why he would have been fine in season 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Because that is fucking dark. One question I've got to ask, if anybody here who works in the industry can tell me, like, if you're a prop master or something, where the hell do people get those giant, comically oversized, like, egg timer, what do they call them, hourglasses? I've never seen one that size ever, but I've seen them on TV multiple times. Like, did somebody have to make that specifically for this episode? Or is that just something that people have for some reason?
Just that look on Island's face is like, oh God, I'm stuck here again. It's not so much acting, it's like I'm frustrated from being here.
He just looks a little bit bored. But I mean, at the moment, he's got nothing really to do, and he probably knows. Obviously, I'm in a clip show here, so
yeah.
It is funny to me, though, that we've got two different clip shows that use clips from the same episode.
Yeah.
Obviously, they didn't know that they were going to do People versus Metallo later on, but it's still kind of funny that in two different clip shows, we've got clips from the same episode. So I'm not talking now because I'm just enjoying Michael Callan's performance. As always. And now I'm enjoying Stacey's performance. I always thought she was great in this scene.
Man, does she look sexy? Got that bad girl vibe.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. They're definitely going for a bad girl vibe in that scene, though, with her wardrobe. Like, I'm guessing just to try and trick the audience a little bit. But I mean, she was wearing that same outfit, I think, earlier in the episode when they went to the bar, if I remember right. So, yeah.
What? Huh? Turn around.
Board.
Huh?
The board.
I suppose you need a bigger hourglass if you need to, you need a little more time.
Right.
But I mean, surely you could just make the hole smaller and the glass, the sand finer or something. I don't know how it works, but I've never seen one that big before. I just think it's slightly comical. But it is exactly the kind of thing that Nick Knack would have. So. Oh, back to Nightmare Island. Just muting Chris's mic for a moment. Give me a thumbs up when the noise stops. I wonder why they chose clips from Nightmare Island. I guess it's just because, it's one of the good clues that Lana might have as to Superboy's identity. Still makes me laugh seeing Gerard in John's outfit. Just like it always makes me smile when it happens with Bizarro too. I've unmuted. Oh.
Yeah, it is a little weird seeing him in that outfit. I mean, I know it was done for stunt purposes. They didn't want to ruin one of the brand new suits.
It's the same reason they put Bizarro in the same outfit. There's a few shots in Bride of Bizarro and I think even in the original Bizarro two-parter where he's in John's outfit.
Here's the funny thing about this, using the sequences from Yellow Perry. They weren't present for most of that.
No. How would Lana and TJ, not TJ, how would Lana and Andy even know about this?
The only thing
Unless
that
Superboy
Andy
told them?
Yeah, the only thing that Andy knew about is, he said to Clark, I saw your girlfriend Loretta. She was dressed in some kind of Arabian workout outfit.
Yeah, that's about it. Not exactly a great deal of information for Nick Knack. I do still think it's a pretty cool looking puppet, though. Like, if you were to do, the ventriloquist and Mr. Scarface, I'd go for a similar sort of puppet. I'd just put him in like a, Al Capone style pinstripe suit or something.
Yeah. It's only been a half an hour since he came home.
I guess.
Because when he walked in the door, it was 1 a.m. and now it's 1:30.
I guess we're witnessing this episode in almost real time. They've got to have just shot this at the same time they did the first Nick Knack episode. Surely.
And then, of course, we've got Run,
Run,
Dracula,
Dracula,
Run.
Run.
Yep.
It's funny because there's a clip of this episode on YouTube and it always seems to get comments like, why are vampires able to beat up Superboy, forgetting the fact that vampirism is supposedly part of like magic, which is one of Superman's weaknesses. But
Magic,
one person,
supernatural, and psionic powers.
Yeah, I remember one person saying, it was something along the lines of like, it was the shot where Superboy is being hit with the sunlight when he's in chains, and it's just like, why is this even a thing? It's like, well, he gets his power from the yellow sun, so I guess it's just burning out the vampire's curse or whatever. But I never thought it was that difficult to really work out what was happening there, Superman's powers come from the Earth's yellow sun. Like he gets covered in yellow sunlight, and the curse is broken. Like it just.
Well, maybe not. You could think of it this way. The vampire curse could be like, it's constantly re-upping itself as it's burning as the sun is burning it out, and that's what's causing him so much pain because it keeps
I just
coming
figured
back.
It would be painful anyway.
Yeah.
But literally burning the curse out of his cells or something, Yep. And here's Bizarro. Yeah, like if you want to know who Superboy really is, Bizarro's the one to ask. You could probably trick him into telling you. He's not the brightest guy in the world. Let's face it, how many times did in almost every episode he gets tricked by someone in some way? Usually by Lex. Although I suppose to be human, he wasn't really tricked by anyone.
Chaos tried to.
Yeah, but let's face it, I think by that point, Bizarro was past the slightly naive part of his personality. Got to say, the scene transitions are the most 80s thing I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, but they work.
They do. They do work. It just keeps making me think, oh, Saved by the Bell's about to come on or something, because it reminds me of the intro sequence for that. Sherman Howard was so damn good as Luther. I
Oh,
realise it's a different take, but man, he was so good. Very much the Silver Age, Golden Age Luther.
And the interesting part is that when they were doing the casting for the animated series in the 90s, he actually went in and read for Lex Luthor, and he was that close to getting it.
Would have been great, man. I really wish he could have got it. But then again, you know, Clancy Brown was friggin' unbelievable in that role. So I am also glad that he got it.
And, you know, because he was so good, you know, in his take, they kept that in mind when they did Batman Beyond, and that's why he was the voice of Derek Powers. Basically, he's playing Lex Luthor there.
What about Andy? Is he all right? Get the thing off his head, you know.
There we go.
I tell you what, though, like the producers of season 2 were very clever if they did shoot this at the same time as the first Nick Knack episode. Just the idea, you've got the sets there, you've got the actor. We'll shoot a clip show at the same time and air it later in the season. I just think it makes a lot of financial sense for a show with the budget that this had. So yeah. I've got to give props to that.
Mark Jones, if you can speak to that, was the clip show shot at the same time as?
Yeah, I would like to know that too. Yeah, if you could let us know, that would be great. Anyway, that was season 2, episode 24, The Secrets of Superboy. And before we actually get into the discussion of this, because we're probably not going to have quite as long a discussion with this episode, just purely because it's a clip show, there's not as much to discuss.
Right.
Should we give this a score now and then get into the discussion, just so we don't forget?
Yeah, let's give it a score now.
I mean, I would be hard to press to call it more than like a 7.5 at most. I mean, leaning more to a 7, to be honest.
Yeah, I would split the difference there and just say 7.25. You know,
yeah, I don't think I can give it any higher, just purely because most of what I like about the episode comes from previous episodes. And I do really like the new stuff that was shot for this one. But it's, you know, unlike People versus Metallo, where it felt like the main story served a lot more of a purpose. This one is just kind of, at the end, Superboy shows up and stops it without much effort. You know, It's a little bit of a different situation than People versus Metallo. And let's face it, People versus Metallo didn't even have Superboy save the day. You know,
it had that old lady of the day.
Yeah, the old lady who, I think is a legend for that. You bad boy. Yeah, I love that episode. Anyway.
You know, I'm gonna say, you know, as much as I like the episode, it does have its drawbacks. I mean, you can't really, you know, hold all your performances based upon Gilbert. I mean, Gilbert was great no matter what.
Yeah. I forget who played Daisy. I forget her name.
I don't know. I think we discussed it in the last Nick Knack episode.
Yeah. I'm sorry if you do happen to see this that we've forgotten your name, but I always think that she's entertaining enough. I just like the same thing that I think we said in the previous commentary on the first Nick Knack episode. I just wish that she had a little bit more to do, but let's face it, that's a criticism that we have for the entire show. It just comes with the fact that the episodes are so short. You can't always give every character the development they deserve. But I do think she does a good job for what she's given.
And that's the thing, you know, an hour-long clip show can at least, you know, give, you know, a little bit more time to develop for a character, or to develop how the hero swoops in at the end and saves the day. You know, if this has been an hour-long episode, you know, Clark would have picked up that game a little bit sooner, and then he started to realize, I can hear a sound, I can track it, you know, that kind of thing. You know,
it's almost a shame that he couldn't hear it when Lana and TJ, I keep calling him TJ in this episode. When Lana and Andy walk through the door and they're both playing the Game Boys, it's a shame that he didn't pick up on it then, but I guess then there would be no plot for this story. But
or just the fact that, you know, maybe he was just not paying attention, you know.
Yeah, he clearly had work to be getting on with, you know. Yeah, and he was about to leave. You know, he was out the door before, right as they said, "Aren't you going to play yours?" Like he was in the middle of something. You know, he was basically heading out the door. So I do get that. I do think this is a good episode. You know, if it was 42 minutes, they probably could have done more with Nick Knack and Daisy. But at the same time, if the whole objective of doing a clip show is to save money, they probably would have just had the same amount of Nick Knack and Daisy stuff and just used more clips. So who knows?
I will say this, you know, Ilan and Stacy's performances are not up to snuff in this episode.
Stacy, I think, puts in a slightly better performance than Ilan, but I mean, to Ilan's credit, he's basically given nothing to do.
Yeah.
So I can't really blame him for phoning in a day. You know, it happens. Let's face it, it's TV, and when you're making a show that has like 24, 25 episodes a season, you're not going to be able to put in 100% effort all the time. It's just the way it works. You know, TV is very much sort of what do they say? It's like an assembly line, isn't it? You know, people just keep adding to it, and it never stops. So you've got to just keep going, keep moving forward. But they didn't have as much to do. And, you know, Stacey has played being in tremendous pain as Lana better than this episode. You know, she just recently we did The Basement, and when she's being, you know, she's basically being tortured by the alien that's stealing her face. And I think she does a lot better in that episode at playing a similar sort of level of.
Well,
discomfort.
you could also look at it this way. That one was a later episode, so maybe over the course of the next 2 years, she got better at it.
But then in season 1, she had moments like that where she was very good in moments of discomfort. Like, let's face it, this show pretty much since the beginning was putting Lana in really quite horrible situations at times. You know, Lana was very much like, very similar to how, you know, in Deep Space Nine, O'Brien is the one that is just basically tortured by the writers over the course of the show. In Superboy, it's kind of got to be Lana because she is the damsel in distress character, although they made her a lot stronger in certain episodes than others. A little bit uneven, perhaps, but it doesn't matter because she's just so entertaining in it. So, yeah, I don't know. She puts in a slightly better performance in earlier episodes than this. And as you say, in later episodes, she was putting in better performances as well. But I guess it's a clip show. Maybe they didn't have much time, you know. Maybe they only had an hour to shoot all of their scenes. Or I know it probably wouldn't have been an hour, but maybe they only had a day to get the entire episode's worth of new footage shot or something, just because it was supposed to save money.
Yeah, so, and they probably only did it maybe 1 or 2 takes, whereas normally they might do 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. Well, probably less, considering it was shot on film and Superboy's budget was pretty low. So I know they were probably watching how many takes they could do at any given time anyway. But in a clip show, you would definitely want to minimize it even more. But yeah, anyway, 7.25. I think that's a fair score for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to tune in again next week where we're watching one of one of Superboy's famously not so good episodes, which is Obituary for a Superhero. And I can hear people groaning through the screen already. But it's an episode that had a very good concept and just failed in its execution, unfortunately. But we'll see you next week when we discuss and do our commentary on that one. See you then. Goodbye.